I got it up my point of view. I got a new attitude. My worries are few. Okay. I never knew. I got a new attitude. Okay. When I graduated from college in 2002, I graduated from the Fashion Institute of Technology, which is a state university of New York, so SUNY. And, it's a fashion school, so, fashion schools. But I remember when we graduated, we never had just the regular graduation, if you will. Like, we had Alec Baldwin speak at our graduation. But when we left, we walked out to Patti LaBelle, A New Attitude. And I have to tell you, that song has lived with me. It's one of my rallying cries, right? Because songs like Sense, they leave this mark on your memory. You know exactly where you were when XYZ was played, or you smelled this scent, or you know what I'm saying? Like, you have that. And so whenever I think about fresh beginnings, I think about Patti and this new attitude. Because here we are, these young college professionals. Okay, well, we were college because we really weren't professional in our field, but you know what I'm saying. But we were going out into the world and we were about to conquer it. Yeah, that Patti always comes up. So let's talk about getting ourselves together for something fresh on the horizon, shall we? Hello and welcome to Ladies Listen Up. I am your host, Gwendolyn, G.R. Houston Jack. And yes, the moment that I start, when I start thinking about Patti and the song, which the song does play in my car often. It's on my consistent playlist. Patti comes on, I'm like, new attitude. So I can't help it. But let's talk about getting a new attitude. So we're going to jump right into what our conversation is, because, we've been talking about a number of, I'll say, issues for the past few seasons, right? We've discussed money. We've discussed our health. We have discussed aging. We have discussed setting boundaries. We've discussed defining who you are. We've had all these discussions. We even talked about stop talking about it and be about it. We had that discussion too. We've had a lot of discussions. And so now that we're here, I want us to settle in and really consider what happens next. No. I don't want to say really. I used this example the last time about going to your doctor and your doctor saying, hey, you have to lose weight. And you're like, great. How do we do that? What's the plan? What's the pathway? Because for some of us, we can be at a place that we just don't even know where to go. Remember, Gwendolyn was I wasn't even couch surfing. I was just on the sofa. I was like laid out on the sofa for 4 years working to get myself together. Now keep in mind, we had dipped our toe into some foolishness. I thought about crossing over. And I was like, no, can't go out like that. I can't do it. But that was my moment, amongst others, to start writing down where I wanted to be and when. Because I'd had this fight before. When I had my life going really well for me, I knew after 2002, and check it, 2002 May, yes, right after 9/11, which means all the opportunities that myself and my colleagues, co-workers, classmates had worked for, poof, they were gone. They were gone. The only thing available was billing in Toronto. Now, the person that I want to work with, the company I want to work with was Umbra. Love their products. When I tell you, I had worked super hard to build these relationships, which I still have to this day. But I had researched the company. I put myself in positions to meet the president and CEO. I made sure I stayed in touch. I was doing all the things that was big for that time to make sure that I had stuff in place when it came time to get a job. They were my first choice. And I went into the International Furniture Show just doing my thing as a student because I had a free pass, and I was like, I would like to interview you, sir, about your company. He's like, yeah, sure. Ask the questions. Partner rolls up. He says, who is this? He said, oh, this is Gwendolyn. She's interviewing me about the company. I am interviewing her for a job. And I thought, yeah. When I say I was working it, I was working it. We're young and hungry. And then September 11th happened. And everybody was cautious. And if you had a job opportunity, fell by the wayside. It was like, and it's over. And there goes that. So 2002, you graduate. You're like, I'm in New York. The job that I was supposed to have isn't happening, which means where I wanted to live isn't happening, which means I gotta go someplace. Now, I left my stuff in New York City because, again, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, I just knew I wouldn't be in Texas that long. No. When I got the call for the interview, it was like, look, all we have is billing in Toronto. Now, what we not gonna do is take this college education, this degree, and accept a job in billing with the hopes of getting into where I want to go. I'm not doing no. And I love the company. I really did. They were so kind to me. You have no idea. I mean, I can tell you, but yeah. I was like, ooh. Yeah. Now, in the midst of all that, I always kept my part-time job. I'm a college kid, so I always had the part-time job. And at least I had something going for me. And there was a position there that came up because somebody was moving. And I was like, I'll take it. It was a full-time job. I'll take it. So, things happen the way they happen. And I thought, okay. So when another full-time job happened in New York, I wasn't ready to go because I literally had gone up that earlier in the year and moved all of my stuff out of New York. I was paying for storage in New York City because I just knew I wasn't going to be there. I just knew I was not going to be in Texas long. I was like, I'm going to be here for a little bit, then I'm going to get on back and live my big city life. Not that Houston is small potato because it is not small potatoes, but Yeah, that didn't happen. I wasn't ready. I had to look at my finances, right? I had a student loan that was on deferred and all that kind of stuff. And all I could think was I have to be able to pay for an apartment, at least in terms of first and last month's deposit. And I had been working part-time and then finally getting full-time. And it wasn't right, as well as I was volunteering. So I had my kids and, But I made a list. I said, okay, Gwendolyn, what do we have to do to start getting you ready to move back to New York City? And I made a list. I was like, I don't want to go back to the city with all this college debt. I don't want that. I want to go back to the city with the money to put down deposit for an apartment for myself. I don't want roommates. I come back, four of us in a 3-bedroom home, a 1971 built home. So we're all sharing rooms, right? I mean, clearly the parents, but you know. We had day beds here, bunk beds here. And then you go to college and you got more roommates. I was like, look, when I move back to the city, I don't want a roommate. I don't want to share another inch of space with anybody. Done. I'm surprised I'm married. But let me stay focused. So I knew I wanted to go back to New York with a reduction in the college debt, the books, the supplies, the airfare, like, you know, that stuff adds up. So I didn't want to go back to New York City with that debt following me. So I got with my cousin and she and I partnered up to really work on reducing our debt. And I want to say I gave myself like 3 to 4 years to get it done. Now, I did it in 3 because in 2005, we moved back to New York City and I was ready. I was like Mary Tyler Moore. Big city. I literally came in on Halloween. Me and my rabbit. Moved in on Halloween. I was like, okay, G. All right. We're back. We're in action. We're back, baby. It was great. And because I knew that the company was moving me, I bought a good chunk of my furniture before I got there. Because if someone's going to move you, move all the stuff, move the bed, the mattress, move all. I bought all the stuff so I didn't have to deal with it when I got to the city. Hello. Take advantage of those movers. Move all this. And I didn't have much because 1, college kid living in her parents' house, and 2, moving to an apartment in New York City. It's not the biggest space. 600 some square feet. It ain't that big. And yes, it ain't that big. But it was, I'm good. I'm feeling great. So that little minor dip in the financials was like, it was minor. It was, I would say, and I hate to say it, typical college debt. Now, I didn't have as much as some of my associates, person I went to high school with. Because I knew being at NYU, I didn't want to stay here. I didn't want to stay at NYU and rack up $120,000 worth of debt, and knowing that I didn't like my major. So I was like, I'm gonna back out. Like, I'm not doing this. No shame in saying this is not for me. So it was good, right? Things were great. And then, like I said, I got caught up in wanting to be like everybody else and wondering why I wasn't married and forcing things that weren't supposed to be. And we ended up where we ended up, on my friend's sofa for 4 years trying to figure out life. Yeah. And in those moments, like if I go back and look at my diary, my journal, because as an adult, we call them journals, they're just diaries. But if I look at my journal, I can, like I go back and I see where my head was. And for me, the way that I handle stress in my life is I will give myself time to be in my emotion, but I give myself really like 15 really good minutes, 15, 20, maybe 30. Okay, sometimes an hour or 2, but I give myself the time to just express it. So if it's crying, if it's just like playing the sad songs, whatever it is, I am going through those emotions. Like I need to get it out. Get it out, do whatever. And then at a certain point, I'm like, okay, G, now that you've expressed it, because I'm going to express it. Now it becomes, what next? Because I can't stay in a place of, I don't want to say disarray. I can't stay in a place of wallowing in my, in my worries and feeling sorry for myself. I can't stay there. I can't drown in my tears. I can't. And I know I'm saying cannot. I really mean that I can't. I am wired in some form of fashion. And it may be from childhood that, dealing with the family dynamics. There are things happening that are an emergency. And so my head says, take care of the emergency and then we'll take care of you. So get the emergency done. And then somewhere around here, I'm going to find time to express myself. Could be in the car ride home where I am boo-hooing because in time I'm supporting other people. It reminds me of why I was chosen for our emergency response team at my former job. Because we are cool, calm, and collected. People passing out, fires and things. I'm like, look, I need you to call the ambulance. I need you to call the front desk. I need you to go get this, da, 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 da. And no one is the wiser. And I'm just like, done. And then you know. So I'm just habit. At this point, it's a habit. So I'm looking at myself as, let's get through all the emotions. And once we're done expressing these emotions, just to get it out, because I need to express it, like, get in it. Then it becomes great. It's time to do the work. What am I going to do to fix this problem? What are my next steps? Who do I need to call? What do I need to research? Like all of that starts to happen for me. That's how I see problems that are personal. Like, okay, great, got it. When I got the news about my dad, same thing, right? We got the news and I thought, okay, it's lung cancer, okay. Now, by nature, people they will hear cancer and think death sentence, but it really depends on what kind of cancer and when they catch it. Lung cancer tends to be caught when it's just about done, like late stage 2, early stage 3. So you're like halfway in the casket, just saying. And then depending on your history, it can progress really fast. So I remember recording a video saying, hey, I need some prayers. Because I was just like, okay, so what happens next? Like, I need to know what happens next. And once we got through expressing it, okay, we got that. When is the first doctor appointment? What we need to do to extend life as we can. Now, you cannot live forever physically. I don't believe in that. But I do believe while you're here, what can we do to get this like moving forward? I had that idea. And I was like, okay, great. So it was, hey, if he's going to be in bed all the time, let's get baby monitors so that we can hear him because he can't really like yell out. Let's get other things to make this house cancer friendly for both my mother and my father. And then it became perfect. Okay, so if we're going to get breathing machines, I got to think changing the doorway, wheelchair ramps. And we just go through all the ideas. We were just putting it all down. And we never got there. As a matter of fact, as I'm thinking about it, when his chemo medicine came in, he had just been introduced back into the ICU. And it was headed this way. So there was no need for the breathing machine and none of that stuff. It's like, okay, so we're not going to worry about it. We'll just return it because we haven't even had a chance to get that far. Here is my point. We're all going to hit that moment that sort of breaks us, but it doesn't break us. And we've had all of these conversations, but there comes a point in time where we have to have a new attitude and do some work. Let us talk about doing the work. Now, I know that in previous conversations, I have shared with all of you ideas and books and exercises to help you get the work done. I have one for you. And this one happens to be 8 weeks. Now this book is by Lisa Seeley. It's called A Pause for Inner Peace, My Summer of 2024. It is an 8-week workbook. Now, can it take longer than 8 weeks? Yes, it can. So if it takes longer than 8 weeks, feel good about that. It's not bad. The reason why I want to pick this one as a book you should investigate. Now, you don't have to do any of what I'm telling you, of course, because hello, you're grown. But what I love about Lisa's book is that she talked to us through her journal. And in the midst of telling her story and how she had to stop for herself and get this new beginning, she ended up writing a workbook for the rest of us. So every week, she discusses a topic that she tackled. Now, week 1 was embracing the pause. Some of us are going to need a Viking funeral for our behaviors and our habits because we've done some things for so long we make it seem as if we just can't make the change. And the fact of the matter is you can. If you want it bad enough, you'll make that change. In the midst of all of this, Lisa starts each chapter with an affirmation. She gives you her background, and then she goes into her workbook where there are 5 questions that are asked. And you want to sit with these questions. Like really sit with them. Some of us have a difficult time being honest with ourselves. Now, I'm about self-accountability. I was at a photography conference and we had a speaker and he was discussing, how to be better in life, how to be a better human in life, be more civil, more connected. And he asked the crowd, how many of you know somebody with a bad attitude? And I raised my hand. Is it okay? How many of you are the person with the bad attitude? Raise my hand again. I know exactly who I am. I know. Now, I say it jokingly, but I also know that there is a place where I can have a bad attitude. That's just self-accountability. That is self-awareness. That at any moment in time, Gwendolyn can flip and have a bad attitude. But again, who doesn't? Like, hello, we're human. Just saying. So I get it, right? Like, I understand how this works. We gotta be honest with ourselves. If you really are prepared to make this change, it's gonna hurt. It has to hurt before it can heal. Well, it really doesn't, but it may feel like pain when you start going through all these exercises. So she has for us some action steps, the workbook, the questions, and then she gives us journaling prompts. Now, I know some of you don't like to write, and that's fine. You don't have to write. If you don't write, then I say do a video. Do something that allows you to record your growth. Because you want to be able to see where you were and how far you have traveled. That's why when you do exercising, nothing against the scale, but people will tell you pick a pair of clothing that you love, that you currently can get in, but it's just a little snug. And then give yourself some time. And then when you're ready, put it back on. And you're like, oh, okay. Because that's going to tell you that there's change happening. Serena Williams, was it last year? There was a skirt, this jean skirt she wanted to get back into. And she's like, I can't get into it. But then she was working out and getting back to her routine. And she's like, okay, it's looking pretty good. So like we all do it. We all go through these things. We all go through it. But we have to be honest with ourselves. And there may be a place where we have to do a Viking funeral where we take all of these bad habits and these awful thoughts and all these lies and put it in a little boat at a lake, light it up and let it burn. Get done with it. Now, what's also cool about Lisa's book is that there is a place for notes. So you can write your notes down and then you go into the next week. It's 8 weeks. Can it take more than 8 weeks? Oh yeah, for sure. Because I found myself stopping here and there to really sit in it. Now, some of the topics she discusses, there is the pause. There is one about wellness. There is one about finances. There was one about relationships and toxic relationships. Man, there is one about the entrepreneurial spirit. That was week 7. She has a lot in here. A lot is in here that I believe will resonate with many of you. A really good feeling. Because a lot of times, we don't know how to get on that journey. And we're like, I don't even know where to start. And she's like, start with just the pause. Because you got to give yourself this time. Recognize that you are worth the time. You are worth the work. You're worth it. I don't care what anybody out there has said about you. Okay? Including you. You are worth the work. We always find these reasons, excuses to not do the work, to not make the change. Because it's comfortable where we are. It sucks, right? Not getting paid my worth. My relationship is not fulfilling. I don't feel great in my clothes. Don't really like the way I look. Like, we have all of these, but it's comfortable. I would much rather stay here in this muck versus going outside what I know and making the change. Okay. That's different. Yeah. This is my suggestion to you. Is A Pause for Inner Peace. My Summer of 2024 by Lisa Seeley. And it is Summer Reflections, Embracing Self-Discovery and Renewal in Just 8 Weeks. Will it take more time? I believe so. But we must start somewhere. We must start somewhere. And it's a beautiful path that she takes us on, this journey that she herself also was taking as she wrote this book. Talk about timely. If I tell you nothing else, because, I could talk for hours. But there is a place for talking, and then there is a place for getting some work done. We got to make some changes around here. Got to make some changes. I want you to know that you got to give yourself the space and grace to grow and learn. This is a marathon, my friends. A marathon. Not a sprint. And in case you didn't know, although I did tell you, I am a long distance runner. So I am in it for the long haul with you. Just keep moving. See you.